Hey there, this is Alana, and I want to talk to you today about becoming more comfortable talking on camera or using your voice for something like podcasting. As authors, we often think that our one job is to sit behind our keyboard and just write. That is our primary job. But the more we get into marketing and even networking, and some of us are going to go on to teaching or things like that, the more comfortable that you needs to become so that you don't lose an opportunity. So, for example, if a book club says, hey, we have this virtual book club, we're reading your book, we would love for you to pop on for 10 minutes so we could ask you some questions, you feel totally ready for that. Same thing if you want to pitch yourself to be a guest on podcasts, which can be a neat way to get to know other people in your niche and to expand your audience. There are lots of times where you might choose to be on video, and if you're not used to it, it can feel pretty uncomfortable. So I want to start off by addressing you if you are feeling nervous about it. And what I want you to remember is that people are more concerned about your message than the way it's delivered. So think about a YouTube person that you listen to. Maybe you listen to somebody's TED Talk on YouTube, or you follow somebody on TikTok because they give inspiring little motivational things or something. Think about the people that you have enjoyed watching on video. And my guess is you probably can't remember what they were wearing. You probably don't remember what their lighting looked like and things like that, right? You might not even really remember what their background was. It's more about what they shared with you. And so we can allow the nervousness that we feel about, does my hair look okay? Is my lighting okay? Is my room an ugly backdrop for this recording? We can allow those to get in the back burner because they are less important than the message that you're sharing. So, how do we create this sense of I am talking directly to you? That's the next question, because people are going to resonate with you if they feel like through your video, they're having a personal exchange with you. And that can feel pretty tricky when you just flip on a camera and you're talking to a screen and nobody's there. What you could consider doing if you're a very visual person, until you get more comfortable talking to an invisible person, you could even find a picture that represents a member of your audience. It might be somebody's Facebook profile. It might be just a stock image of a person reading a book, or maybe you write books for parents. And so you have a picture of a young mom, something like that. And you can have that picture on your screen while you're talking as if you're talking to that person. I also encourage you, if it doesn't feel too weird for you, if you are not regularly doing like Zoom calls for work or telehealth or whatever, if you're not on camera to talk to people at least, once a month or once a quarter, another way that you can get over some of your discomfort of talking to your computer camera is by just chatting with a friend. Be like, hey, do you want to meet over Zoom, or, whatever hangout that you prefer? And that's another way to just kind of get used to having yourself on camera, seeing yourself, figuring out, where do I look, right? Because my camera's here, but maybe the picture on the screen is down here. So where do my eyes go? And these are ways that we can help feel more natural. Another thing that I recommend, and this is also a tip that can help you if you feel really awkward dictating, like maybe you've tried dictation, but it just seems so awkward hearing your voice. If you wanted to do something like record a podcast episode or something like that, what you could practice doing is actually talking on a cell phone with whatever headgear or headset or microphone setup you use when you're on a call with a friend, and practice just talking into that. So picture if you're talking to your best friend or your grandma, or you're talking to somebody on the phone. Where are you? What gear are you using, and what are you doing? So for me, I've got my hands-free set on, I'm pacing my hallways, and I'm just walking back and forth talking. And so picture what you do in that case, because you're used to having what sounds to others at least like a one-sided conversation when you're doing it that way. And so mimicking that can help it feel more natural. And it's a way to kind of trick your brain. I'm not doing something new and scary. I'm just pretending like I'm on a phone call and it's somebody else who's there. Another thing that you can do to help get more comfortable is just do a couple practice takes, have some bullet points of what you want to say, and just go ahead and do it. And kind of like there's a lot of authors who never published their first novel. I never published my very first manuscript, and I'm really glad I did it because it wasn't about writing the great book. It was about finding the perseverance and motivation to finish a book. That's what my first manuscripts taught me. And so you can for sure record a couple videos and just tell yourself that you're not going to use them. It's just practice. The other thing you can get really used to is making friends with your pause button. That one's really useful. If you just need to, if you lose your train of thought, or maybe you've got a cough, or maybe there's a horn honking outside, get used to where the pause button is and how to use it. And that will make your final product come. It's either it'll mean that you'll have less work to edit, or it will just come out smoother and you won't feel as bad about it. Most of all, though, is I think the most important is just to remember your message is what's important. It's not whether it's delivered perfectly in grammatically correct sentences with the perfect sound and audio quality and fabulous lighting. Those things can all enhance to a degree, but your passion and your communication and you talking to somebody from the heart is going to be so much more important than if your light is positioned 3 inches above your head or 3 inches below your head or things like that. For people who want a couple quick camera tricks, it's best when there is light behind you. Okay, I'm sorry, in front of you, like behind the camera. That helps kind of light you up. You want the camera to be a little bit higher than your face is. Otherwise, you might people might just be staring at your chin, which isn't necessarily attractive. Those are two real quick tips and tricks. What I do, and you can for sure copy me, I wear the exact same sweater every time I'm on camera, whether I'm recording or doing an interview with somebody or teaching a webinar, because that means I don't ever need to stop and think, what am I going to wear? So that's something else you can think of too. You don't necessarily want to wear clothes that are like the exact same color as your background because you'll kind of blend in. You don't want to wear something that's super distracting. If you're going to be recording something over multiple days, it might be a little strange too if people are like, wait, she changed clothes right in the middle of this talk or something. So that's why I do that. But again, all of those things I think are secondary to remembering that your message is what's important, and nobody can deliver the message like you can. You will get more and more comfortable. It's not as if some people were born ready to speak in front of the camera and some just aren't. The more you do it, the more comfortable you will get. So I hope that that gives you some tips and tricks, and we'll talk to you soon.